Excellency, our last speaker for the first part of the opening ceremony is His Excellency Dr. Mohammad bin Abdul Karim Al-Isa, Secretary General of the Muslim World League. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellencies, Eminences, distinguished Assembly, may all of you have a very good morning. My very best wishes. I'm very happy to participate in this highly distinguished assembly and meeting. This gathering encompasses an elite of intellectuals and important personalities from different religions and cultures here gathered in the beautiful city of Vienna, the capital of beauty. We all need to support our peaceful coexistence so as to have further contributions in our civilized words and to fill all the gaps. Humanity, dear brothers and sisters, is still suffering from gaps, from emptiness till today. This emptiness has generated very highly high-cost consequences which affected our cooperation and even the future of our future of our generations. And this is why we have an ethical commitment we should fulfill. So, because the less we are close to such qualification, the more we lose. When we observe and review the history of interreligious and intercultural conflicts, we notice that everything is related to a misunderstanding, to misconcepts, to a non-belief in the divine call to respect diversity and the freedom to choose, to select. This explains why some violent extremists did not or do not even believe in the right to exist. And this is why we have to have a comprehensive approach so as to promote diversity and tolerance as forms of richness and creativity. Unfortunately, violent extremists do not believe in this as a need for survival and a need to preserve dignity. Human history has witnessed all this through very painful examples of extreme violence and barbarian terror. When we do understand the specificities of each other and the cultural and religious diversity, we shall then reach a very high level of civilization and wisdom. And we are here talking on behalf of all Muslim people united under the Islamic nation. We say and confirm that Islam has honored the freedom of belief since our Prophet, blessings and peace be upon him, he said, I quote, I have been convoked so as to honor all the values, end of quotation. That's why we are very honored and pleased to witness and to attend such meetings, especially that mankind has suffered a lot from intercultural, interreligious, and political and sectarian conflicts, which generated a non-mature history that lacks of any ethical values. Honestly speaking, there is a huge lack to have a follow-up of the great thinkers and intellectuals of the old ages. We need, for this purpose, to have a common understanding so as to preserve our history, our civilization, our mankind without any alienation, without any personal or political restrictions. Specific circumstances throughout the history require specific laws that guarantee change and transformation without copying any concepts that have been established for other eras and other periods and that not suit our world today anymore. Dear brothers and sisters, the prisoners of history, when talking about reforms and creativity, are unable to move forward. Whatever their sources are, we need wisdom, and we lack of wisdom in many parts of the world. However, to be wise, we have to recognize that men should be known through the right. However, the men of the right, the men who respect all rights, should be honored. We need a better quality of life. We need a life based upon real humanity, real human values, so as to achieve our ethical and social justice. And such values, it would be great that such values would be included in all constitutions, so as to resort back to them whenever needed. However, it is not the case, because many, unfortunately, are just chasing fake shadows, illusions, and this is a syndrome that sticks to this behavior of denial and withdrawal from all human values. And this is why we need to resort to constitutions. However, many laws and constitutions nowadays do lack, unfortunately, from such values. I would like to highlight what a friend of mine told me with this regard. when he objected against a specific legislation. I asked him for the reason, and he told me that it is against our religious and spiritual values. So I asked him why you did not include this in your constitution so as to preserve these values. The day we become aware that many do rely on their personal interests, we will be aware that we need to resort or go back to the true values in order to achieve the positive beatitude. Otherwise, we shall be again in conflicts, and we shall be far away from all the divine teachings. Of course, we do not presume that or pretend that all of us should have the same belief, the same constitution, the same law, especially that our Islam, our religion of Islam did teach us this, and we are all aware of this. However, we call upon all of us to preserve our common human values that do not only reflect any religious or cultural specificities, but our human intrinsic nature, and this is how God created us and made us different from any other creatures. This is why we need to preserve this so as to prevent it from becoming or turning into another nature, because if this will be the case, our humanity will become different, will become distorted, and we shall eradicate, and all real human values will be eradicated. And there won't be any more prosperity nor stability for a humankind unless we all celebrate and preserve justice and real human values, which are mainly common human values. As for the religious and cultural difference in these values, the difference are minor, because each one of us do have his or her own religious belief, which we have to accept and understand. In conclusion, I would like to highlight the high importance of our interreligious and intercultural exchange through the dialogue so as to combat extremism, fanaticism, bigotry, alienation, because all these, the only winner in such a case will be the last loser at the end. All wise people should be aware that the real competition should be within the decent, honest work as per divine teachings, which guarantee the prosperity and happiness for people who abide by. We should promote these values in the culture and civilization of all nations. We have to share the virtues that are many and multiple. This awareness will prevent us from falling into conflicts in all their forms, because all religions throughout history have always been innocent of all persecutions and wars that have been led in the name, falsely led in the name of religion. All religions don't have nothing to do with all these violent acts of violence and terror that have been committed in the name of religion in the East and the West, and the only responsible of such acts are those who committed these acts. That's why our world needs to be further enlightened in justice terms, just as much as it is already enlightened and advanced on the technological level. We have to overcome this decadence period by gaining further justice and values. The international community, through the United Nations, should be aware of the importance of this, and for this purpose they should have serious and efficient initiatives. Dear ladies and gentlemen, our human intelligence, whatever advanced it has become, it's still suffering from many problems. That's why we need, all of us, we need to understand the real essence of humanity. As per our Lord told us, do not kill each other. We have for this purpose to accept and respect freedoms of each others. We have to be aware of this. We have to understand our diversity with a very high level of wisdom. We have to accept very wisely our diverse ethnicity, and this is we should be aware that this is a rich source of our cooperation. It is a richness for us and not a reason for exclusion. And if we do it, this is when we will be very close to achieve happiness for all humanity, the mankind who is increasingly suffering despite all our advances in technology, in science, and despite the existence and all the work being carried out by the United Nations. Finally, through this very important and high-level gathering, I would like to point out that only 10% of our resources, only 10% would be enough to achieve peace on Earth, worldwide. If we are to be well aware enough, we will be able to fight all these phenomena using soft power so as to combat this and to guarantee the freedom of belief, so as to fight all chaotic thoughts that are serving non-human values. Whomever take the path of this last path I talked about will be far away from being or serving humanity. Finally, I would like to thank the organizers and thank all the distinguished assembly for their kind attention, and may peace of God be upon you.
ITV